Hello and welcome to In the Court of the Wenton Knave. This is the last one now, this is the end. My OCD finishes here. I am going to review other stuff obviously. Don't know whether Sam will do anything with that or not, but this is the end. This is the end of this thing here. I've finished. Okay, and there's an end video as well. Yeah, another one. Another tour box, 2017 tour box. It must be getting tired now, surely. And it isn't, strangely. Most spoiled fans of any band, of course. They have been playing a whole load of new, old stuff. It's strange to talk about King Crimson in those terms, isn't it? But since 2015, I said there was Cirkus and there was Dawn Song and there was Fracture, but now they're playing Fallen Angel and Exiles, Indiscipline, Islands, and Neurotica. It does turn out Adrian Belew asked them not to play any of his stuff. I think someone commented on the video for that, I think. So thanks for that. And of course that fact explains the absence of 80s stuff. The absence of 80s stuff, at least for the first 2 years of the band, and the fact that Jacko still doesn't sing any Belew stuff. I think he sung Indiscipline apparently or something, but basically he doesn't do any Belew vocal stuff. And, it would feel a bit wrong for them to do, Dinosaur or People or something like that. But it is at the same time a bit over the top, and it was always very strange that there was nothing from the 80s. Why nothing? I'm probably sure that the 2015 box is still the best box, but I've listened to it to death. So this is really exciting, and yeah, so 2017 box. Thanks to Daniel Moore for sending me this one. Many thanks for that. There's no etiquette for these things, so it's always it's always a nice thing when someone just sends you something. This is mostly exciting because of the second side, which I'll talk about in a bit. But also the first side, for some reason, just seems more interesting than the 16 one. I don't know, maybe. So yeah, they're still touring. The inlay starts with a bit from Fripp's diary, which is about how on earth are they carrying on after 3 years? They're not supposed to carry on after 3 years. That's wrong. Which is clearly breaking the rules of King Crimson. And it's kind of like with Frank Zappa's musicians. Is that the problem is when the musicians start to think they know what they're doing. And the argument is because it's now an 8-piece, it's different. And it does sound like a very small change compared to previous changes. So a bit of a sort of justification. But I think because of the way the band appears to work, or the way the band works but doesn't appear to work, or something. It's probably quite a shake-up actually, and the reports from 2017 are very exciting. There are downloads already at a time of recording, which I'm about to put on. That's very exciting. I'm not going to review the downloads, just to clarify. But yeah, given those reports of 2017, it sounds like it might be the best tour yet. So it's slightly annoying we're getting the 2016 live album in the autumn, or the fall, depending on where you live. But for some reason, the also available discs here include Live in Vienna 2016, 3 CD. For some reason, because it's 3 CD, that makes it more exciting again. Maybe there's an extra disc of something exciting, or maybe it's a longer set. Don't know. Or like Radical Action, it includes all the songs played from that tour and not just from Vienna, maybe. I don't know. I should have called it Radical Action too. So yeah, the focus, it's going to be about the second disc. Everyone's going to be talking about the second disc because the second disc is themed. It is basically Lock, Stones in Aspic, the album. Not that album, I mean an album of Lock, Songs and Aspics. Something I've always thought about actually. I didn't think about this before, and I think many years ago I maybe even made a tape. And it was something similar. It wasn't just 1, 2, 3 and 4, it was with bits in between. Nowhere near as good as this and not as big as this. And there was no level 5 at the time either. There might not have even been Locks 4 actually, I'm not sure. But yeah, predictably the liner notes talk about Lock, Songs and Aspic. They use bits of Keep That One Nick to see into different things and make it flow really nicely. It fits together really nicely. It's not just a bunch of stuff. You can go from Locks 2 to 3 smoothly because you can't really just have those two together. It wouldn't work. So you've got something in between. So technically, that should be the definitive Crimson statement. As I said, that fifth studio album is year zero. Lock, Stones and Aspic, specifically the tracks, are where Fripp found the Crimson King. That's the start, really. Everything else is prehistory. Doesn't mean it's the best King Crimson album. It just means it's a very, very definitive statement of Crim. Maybe it is definitive. So yeah, track 1. Wind again, the wind extract. The wind isn't actually there on this one. This is quite funny. It kind of doesn't matter. It's just some talking and then there's no wind. I'm sure in 2016 you had a bit of talking saying, are these some goodies on there? And well, I preferred 14 and 15 really. And then we get the wind extract. And this one is just the talking, which is quite funny. It's a discussion about it. Do you want the notes or do you want wind? Or I'm not sure what that was. And of course, you turn it up to hear vocals at that point, and unfortunately, the next track is 21st Century Schizoid Man, Greg Lake vocals. It's the first verse, Greg Lake's vocals, really loud. Surprise! Wow. The original album vocals on the first verse, cutting through. Awesome. And it's really nice the way they've made this. So track 3 is 2015 Schizoid Man edit. So that we've had the first verse of just a cappella, and then we go into the second time in the riff. But it's but basically without the solo section. So that you've got it goes into the McDonald bit, and then straight into the stop-start section. But still, really cool. Track 4 is more your typical stuff we've been getting at the start of these albums. We've got an In the Wake of Poseidon instrumental edit. It's basically the same, but without the vocals. Never played live, he says. Said that before. Track 5, Improv, Mel Collins, Extract Live 2016. This is actually, it's the Lark Swan flute that should be violin bit, because obviously they're all different and always interesting. Track 6 is Peace. You got some bits of dialogue, and then you got a cappella piece, and then something funny happens, and they have to censor out Jacko's swearing. Then track 7 is Cirkus Live 2016. This is one of the downloads, so I've already heard this. Hamburg 2016. Of course, that tour was the first time it was played since 1971, 72? Probably 72. In a sense, I shouldn't have got the downloads because there's too much. I've said this before, it's why I'm not really doing the downloads. I don't really do downloads normally because it's just too much, but I couldn't wait. And I've already got 2017 stuff downloaded, I just can't wait. And obviously, Cirkus is fantastic with the 7-piece, it goes without saying, doesn't it? And I really like the solo bit. Well, it got a bit silly on the live versions earlier on when they do stuff. And here it's just scary. Perfect for the band. Track 8, Islands instrumental edit. Instrumental version of Islands. It's not the whole track, it's actually a abridged version. It's always nice to hear the instruments emphasised, It is worth having these instrumental versions because it emphasises things. Never played live? Oh no, wait, sorry, yeah, it has been played live now. Track 9, Easy Money. This is the Toronto version of Easy Money, interestingly. Track 10 is Suitable Grounds for the Blues, but bloody hell, the intro is good on that. Middle section, definitely prefer Radical Action, but yeah, the intro on that one is killer. Track 10, Suitable Grounds for the Blues, 2015 Rehearsals. Just 1.5 minutes of sort of dirty riffage, yeah. And at the end, something goes wrong, and Jacko says, yeah, it was Harrison that made me laugh, sir. And then track 11 is Great Deceiver from 74, so a bit of a jolt to 74, really. That song's supposed to be a jolt though, so that's great. Track 12 is Improv again, Mel Collins, Extract Live 2016, so it's another Lark Swan flute bit again. And there is always time for a Lark Swan flute bit again. Track 13, Asbury Park, an edit of Asbury Park, that's pretty cool. Track 14, One More Red Nightmare from 2016, brutal. Didn't download this one, I don't know why. Strange. How it compares to the other versions, maybe it's better, I don't know. Obviously the Orpheum people moan about the mix on the Orpheum being a bit wimpy, and maybe this has got a bit of mix. Track 15 is Meltdown from Rehearsals 2015. I landed on his 4, I think this is Gavin's 4. And he says, when we're playing over the top of where you come in, it's a linguistic nightmare of describing this stuff to each other, Then we get a bit of it. Then track 16 is Thela Ginjeet, so we're off to the 80s. It's the StevenWilson alternative mix. Track 17 is Heartbeat from Frejus, 82. That's good. So yeah, track 18 is the 2008 version of Sleepless. Chicago version. We've not had anything else from 2008 other than Chicago for some reason. Maybe they're all much the same, I don't know. So we get to hear the Master Lotto version, the sequencer project version, if you like. On the 2008 video, what I said was, I prefer the intensity of Absent Lovers. It still doesn't have the intensity, it still washes. So I suppose it's supposed to sound like that, but I like the intense version. And track 19, end of the disc, Robert Fish intermission announcement. Robert Fish. It's the stuff about when photos are okay, is when Tony Levin gets his camera out and please don't take pictures whilst the band is playing. Why would you do that if he's asked you not to? Yeah, disc 2. So obviously this is what it's all about. The Lark's Tongues disc. And track 1 is Form Number 1. Yet another 2004 track from the 2004 lineup. We've now got a couple of bits from there, actually, interestingly. And it's guitar, synth, strings, I think, on top of some Levin groove stuff. But it's a string arrangement by the Vicar again. Now the previous one was just strings, and that sounded like a program thing. Maybe the strings are added later or something. I haven't quite figured out what's going on there. It's very Baloo. It could be from one of his solo albums. It says, taken from the forthcoming 37 Forms album. Maybe it's a joke. I don't know. Maybe we're going to get this weird album. Track 2 is Thrack. From the Thrack sessions. Honestly, after everything, it feels a bit meh. They're just making a load of noise. Because it's the album version of Thrack, which is just doesn't have the punch of the live stuff that came later. You want really to a certain extent, thrack the album. Although it reflects the material well, it's kind of like beat in the live stuff just outdoes it completely, you know. And with something like Thrack it would anyway, wouldn't it? Because just by the nature of it. Track 3, Keep That One Nick edit. So the first bit from that disc, quite a bit of that disc on here. I mean, they're giving away half the disc. The thing is, I mean, each tour box sort of makes the big boxes slightly less essential. But it doesn't matter, because we like all of it. I'm certainly not complaining. This is an early version of the jam section from Larks. Nowhere near the intensity of the final one, interestingly. Obviously they've built up to it. But it means David Cross gets to do some stuff. And when it sits back slightly, he's just going boom, 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 not, you know. So it's not really bludgeoning at that point. And then we get some chatter, and then back into the start of the second jam with some Fripp soloing. And it's still more relaxed, you haven't got that stuff going on. But it is more intense than the first time. And then we have Larks, Tongues in Aspic, Part 1. 2015, you know, and it is controversial to say, and for some people this is just, you can't say that. And if any of the songs that the you know, 2013 onwards band play do it better, it's Larks 1. They are the Larks 1 band for me, you know. These are definitive versions of Larks, Tongues in Aspic Part 1. Sorry. This one is from Radical Action, I think, interestingly. I would have chosen Toronto. Track 5, Larks, Tongues in Aspic Part 2. Whereas, I think earlier lineups do Part 2 better. This is 74, and it's a great one. I think it's Toronto. I could have got that wrong, I haven't looked inside. Buy it and find out for yourself. It's funny how the sieg from 1 to 2, you're going from 2015 to 1974, works. It's a smooth sieg, you know, the sound of King Crimson is there. Yeah, it's fine. Of course, it's the next one which is going to be tricky. Track 6 is Keep That One Nick. This one's percussion. Again, it's probably the same bit. It's the second jam bit, the really intense bit. And then we have a great bit of dialogue. Can I have the bacon tin louder in my cans? In his headphones, cans. Bacon tin, cans. All this makes me want to put on the whole of Keep That One Nick album. The hour-long stuff. Then we get some bits of the first jam. And then we got track 7, Larks, Tongues in Aspic Part 3. So this is the thing. Really, moving into the 80s is always the problem, because the 80s is the 80s. And it works fine. It looks absolutely fine. And I think having Keep That One Nick bit in between just worked really well. It's from Live in Japan, as in it's from the video. Don't know which night. Someone could tell me which night. I assume it's from the original video version, probably. Great live. It's a shame, in a way, that it wasn't performed again. You can't really do it without Baloo. You really need Baloo for this. Because one of the things that makes it so much better than the album version is the jam at the end is so different. The jam at the end on the original album is a bit... it's Baloo, what he's doing. It's just awesome. It's just fantastic. I'm not even going to talk about it. You have to listen to it. And it's the same on Absent Lovers as well. But of course, never on CD before, because the 80s box only had it on Blu-ray or on DVD or both. So of course the problem with a live version of Part 3 is it cuts into Thela and Ginjeet, doesn't it? So surely you have to have Thela and Ginjeet. No. It goes into some more Keep That One Nick. And it goes into a cleaner Larks 2. A jam of a warm-up jam of Larks 2. And it works really well. It fits. It's not like horrible 80s, 70s, dirty sound, you know. It just works. And then from that we have Larks 4 Construction. In other words, I think in 1999, it's a cleaner Larks 4. And then a final Keep That One Nick. Fripp says something, I didn't quite catch what he was saying, musical genius of the century, and something about Peter Sinfield, possibly not related, I don't know, maybe. Into the first jam, much like the album version by that point. And then track 11 is Larks, Tongues in Aspic Part 4, live 2003 in New York. Oh yes, that's fantastic. Followed by, of course, you had to have it, track 12, quite rightly, level 5. Because it's Larks 5 really, isn't it? We all know it is now. They made the decision back then saying we could come on forever, so it's silly, but maybe had they known that was it, or likely to be it, then yeah, call it Larks 5, because it is. And then at the end we have the Larks, Tongues and Aspic radio advert for the album on Atlantic Records and Tapes. And there you go. That's the 2017 box. The end of the journey really. See you in the end video, and then see you. So yeah, Sam, what do you think of King Crimson?
That's hard to sum up in a pithy sentence.
Yeah, I suppose you just say yeah, they're good.
Yeah, they're good.
Okay, that's it.